So I know this is super dangerous because news is breaking all the time, but as of right now, 10:46 p.m. Central Time, here's what the Vikings have done in free agency. Because we like having some nice in the morning for the Jeromes. You know, getting up early, having that cup of coffee, catching up with the Vikes. It's good stuff. But if some of this information is dated, it sort of is what it is. It's like, oh, the Vikings traded for Lamar Jackson overnight. Guess we'll just throw this out, whatever. But free agents signed, as well as in-house guys, etc., guys that are gone, blah, blah, blah. So, first up, guys that have been signed. Josh Oliver, blocking tight end, one of the best blocking tight ends in the game. Vikings obviously see some upside with his physical prowess, as well as underutilized as a receiver. So Josh Oliver coming in and going to form a nice 1-2 combination with TJ Hockenson. Now, it's listed as a 3-year, $21 million deal. It's really a 1-year, $8 million and change deal, or a 2-year, $12 million deal. So it's very digestible, right? Marcus Davenport, the former number 14 overall pick in the draft, the guy who the Saints traded up heaven and earth to go get, and he's got a great pass rush win rate. He's got a great pressure rate. But for whatever reason, he couldn't build upon his very solid 2021 season where he had an 88.8 PFF grade as well as 9 sacks, but 1-year, $13 million deal. Now, cap-wise, so the Vikings have to be in cap compliance by 3 p.m. Central Time today, and I mean, it's up in the air. I mean, the Vikings have cleared cap space with the dealings with Kirk Cousins. They haven't restructured Brian O'Neill yet, but Zadarius Smith is still on the books, and they can free up $12.1 million in cap space by either cutting or trading him. So I think that's a 1-for-1 swappy swap replacement, Davenport for Zadarius Smith. Byron Murphy, late on Tuesday evening. Byron Murphy, 2-year, $22 million deal, versatile cornerback, great man-to-man skills, can play inside, outside, and yeah, his career didn't go as planned in Arizona, but Arizona, and especially last year, their defense was ass. Thank you, 31st in the league in points scored. So I don't really hold that against him. He's going to be 25 all throughout this season. So Kwesi, you'll notice that with Oliver, Davenport, and Murphy, Kwesi is betting on young guys, shortish deals, 1, 2, 3-year deals. Most of the guaranteed money is in the front end, and he's betting on potential. He's betting on traits that their best football is ahead of them. And Byron Murphy, he's going to be perfect with Flores. Absolutely love that one. They retained a couple of guys, Garrett Bradbury, notably 3 years, a $15.75 million deal. Now, I'm fine at this price point, where it's estimated that he could possibly have gotten $10 million per in free agency. It wasn't about that, but Bradbury, knocking on all the wood. The back is good to go. I'm sure the medical staff checked him out. But Bradbury, he played well last year, and it's important to note that he played well with this staff, and hopefully they can build upon 2022, forget 2019 through 21, and then just go from there. And also, I think that the Vikings may have had a little bit of a come to Jesus moment where Bradbury got hurt, Schlutman not so great. Chris Reed was a disaster against the Packers, mainly because he couldn't snap, and then Bradbury, I think, is seen as the lesser of the evils, and it's more of the one that you know versus the one that you don't sort of situation. Now, I think the Vikings should still invest heavily in the interior offensive line, whether the rest of free agency and especially the draft. Nick Mullins is back as the backup for Kirk Cousins. No details on his contract yet. I'm sure it's 1 year, maybe 2. I'm sure it's league minimum, etc. Greg Joseph back is so it's been reported that it's an almost guaranteed deal. But the $2 million number has been reported about a 1-year deal. Greg Joseph, even though he kicked 5 game-winning field goals last year, including that 61-yarder from the parking lot against the Giants, he did miss 13 kicks, 7 field goals, 6 point after, so something to work on. Andrew DePaula, love this story, man. First team All-Pro, Pro Bowler, long snapper, 3-year deal, $4.025 million. The $2.265 million guaranteed is the largest guarantee for a long snapper in NFL history. Love it. Plus, I like that they're keeping the battery of Joseph DePaula and the holder / punter Ryan Wright together. That continuity is really important. Guys that are gone. Patrick Peterson signed a 2-year, $14 million deal, $5.85 million guaranteed with the Steelers. Now, I respect it. I mean, going and getting to play for Tomlin. And, well, Peterson said that he wanted to play for rings, and the Steelers are going to be okay. I mean, they're always going to be okay with Tomlin, but I don't think that they're in championship contention anytime soon. But, I mean, there's a team that his cousin and co-host on his show, all things covered except for Isaiah Hodgins. Brian McFadden played on the Steelers, so there you go. Respect. I would have been okay bringing P Squared back, but not at $7 million per. Nah, ain't doing that. Cameron Dantzler got claimed off of waivers by Washington. Adam Jerome, Ezekiel Thielen. So I think Thielen may have made a mistake because it was clear that the Vikings and Thielen could have worked something out, maybe found a middle ground on a pay cut and a role reduction. But I think that the market it wasn't a great receiver market as is, and I think Myers getting $11 million per, Ellenzar getting $11 million per. I think that's the cap. So I think Thielen's probably going to come in pretty shallow, maybe 5, 6, 7, probably closer to Robert Woods type money. But it's reported that he's visiting the Panthers, as well as there's some rumors that he'd be interested in going to the Chiefs, which, who wouldn't? Kendricks going home, going back to LA, 2 years, $13.25 million. I think it's a great spot for him. Plop him in the middle of the Brand Staley defense. He'll be good to go. Diesel Dalvin Thompson, I wouldn't mind having him back, but I mean, we're not matching that money. 4 years, $57 million. Kwesi's former boss Andrew Berry and the Browns and Kevin Stefanski, even though Stefanski and Diesel Dalvin didn't have any crossover with the Vikings, whatever. But yeah, getting him the bag and $27.5 million guaranteed. Now, since he left, his contract voids, and now the Vikings have to deal with $7.5 million dead on the 2023 cap versus 2.5 over 3 seasons. And some decisions the Vikings have to make. Zadarius Smith, I think after the acquisition of Marcus Davenport, he is probably going to be gone, maybe traded for a draft pick, ideally, but also likely cut. $9.45 million base, $5.05 million of that becomes guaranteed on Friday. So if they are going to cut him, they got to do it before Friday. If they look to trade him, I mean, they could still do it afterwards, but the other team would pick up that $5.05 million guaranteed. Dalvin, $10.4 million base salary this year. $2 million of it is guaranteed. The Vikings can free up $6 million by cutting him, $8 million by trading him, and remains to be seen. I mean, I think that it's a real possibility that he could be back, because even though Kwesi, his MO this year has been getting rid of veterans as well as bad contracts, I think that Dalvin could be back in purple next season. Harrison Smith is going to be a major decision, and it seems like the Vikings have been pushing it off, but $14.7 million base, $1.25 million of it becomes guaranteed on Friday. I think that he's probably just a cut candidate given his age and contract status, but I guess never say never. If a team comes in, offers like a 6th or 7th round pick for Harrison Smith, maybe, but yeah, the Vikings have to figure something out. The reports are that the team is looking at him for a pay cut, obviously, so we'll see what happens with 22. And then Kirk Cousins. So it's not an extension. They didn't add any years to his deal. He's still a free agent after this year, but they did cap conversion. They converted some of that roster bonus and salary into a signing bonus. So they spread it out over 2 additional void years, so 4 void years total, and they freed up $16 million of 2023 cap space. And then Vikings unrestricted free agents still hanging out there. Madison market's been pretty tepid in terms of running back pay. You look at what happens with Jamal Williams. You look at what happened with Austin Eckler, who's looking for a trade. Irv Smith, no steam yet. Duke Shelley. I would love to have Shelley back, even with Byron Murphy in the building. BC Johnson, nada. Schlutman, I think Thomas had mentioned that Schlutman had some interest in coming back, but it remains to be seen. Oli Udoh, nada. Jonathan Bullard, wouldn't mind having him back along the defensive line. Sean Dunn, Chris Boyd, sort of whatever at this point. But again, super dangerous. News probably breaking right now, but it is what it is. Vikings have to be in cap compliance by 3 p.m. Central Time today, and TBD where the hell they are with the cap with all these signings and restructure of Kirk Cousins, etc. But that is it. As of right now, 10:55 p.m. Central Time, Vikings free agency recap. Who's been signed, who's been let go, who's been re-signed, etc. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.